fool. We commanding the block. Burgundy and gold, got the city on lock. Hustling plays, they don't need to pretend. DC reppin' strong and we fight to the end. Command is moving, no breaks, no pause. Hands in the dirt, respecting the call. K-Dot in the mid, dissect the grind. District divided with a city in mind. Join the damn squad, don't miss a bit. And you gotta spread the word, so shit is shit. K-Dot.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast. More specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K-Dot. This episode, the defensive coordinator search continues. We provide an update on it, the list of names we've interviewed so far, the candidates that are now removed, who we think the top dog is. We get into that. Then the offensive line staff had some promotions, Darnell Stapleton and Shane Toub. We looked up the pronunciation just before this. We're going to talk about those guys, along with the offensive staff as a whole. And then we get into the NFL playoffs, some of the storylines that have been going on. We go around the NFL, even to teams that maybe are eliminated already. And then the comment mailbag, as we always do. So before we begin this episode, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do. And K-Dot.
Gotta say, I think like the hardest single thing to do in sports is like germane to the game. Like you can't play it without it. Is hitting a baseball, right? In my opinion. But like, I just saw the movie Marty Supreme the other day. How the fuck do people play table tennis? Do you know anybody that's good at table tennis?
Yeah,
and do they worship
actually
Satan?
do.
I just think it's satanic. I don't understand it. That fucking ball and how fast it's going. It doesn't make sense to me. Share this shit.
Share this shit and food for thought for you guys. If you're good at table tennis, are you also a devil worshiper? Let's go ahead and get
Salem
into
witch
it.
Trials. I know who I'm burning.
The Washington Commanders defensive coordinator
They
search.
would never let women play table tennis.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a defensive coordinator search. We got a lot of names to run through here. K.Geez, we're 2 minutes into this thing. All right. So big news for those that were hoping for Brian Flores. He did re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings as their defensive coordinator. Now he could end up being a head coach, but he's not going to be a defensive coordinator anywhere else. So he is off the market. Then you have other names that we have interviewed. You have Joe Cullen from the Chiefs, defensive line coach. You got Jonathan Gannon, former Arizona Cardinals head coach, also former Eagles defensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl. Patrick Graham, former Raiders defensive coordinator. Al Harris, Bears pass game coordinator, secondaries guy. Karl Scott, same title over there, pass game coordinator on defense for the Seattle Seahawks. Raheem Morris seems to be the top candidate right now as we continue to wait. He's looking for head coaching opportunities still. A few vacancies remain, and there is obviously tight ties to Dan Quinn. The other name is Jeff Ulbrich, who was also rumored to be a top target. He remains with the Atlanta Falcons. So K-Dot, I'm going to throw this over to you. John Keim has mentioned that he thinks Raheem Morris is the top guy for this job. You had mentioned last episode that Raheem Morris is your top guy for this job. What do you make of all this?
I mean, more than anything, I'm just kind of want it to just happen, just so I can start looking and trying to figure out exactly what it is I think is going to happen as far as from the defensive standpoint. Because I don't know how much Dan Quinn's holding on to compared to how much he's letting go, and I don't. And as far as like from a philosophical standpoint, if you want to go young compared to going old, like, are you trying to find your next Mike McDonald, somebody that might be a little unheralded? There are some names out there, especially when you talk about our boy up in Scott. What is it?
Karl Scott.
Karl Scott in Seattle. There are some really interesting names as far as that goes. But then on the other token, if you're looking at what's going on with this coaching staff, like I know Anthony Lynn is interviewing for head coach in Buffalo too. So like and Brian Johnson leaves, so with what's happening on offense, you kind of would think that maybe because of how much Dan Quinn relies on like the teaching aspect of things, maybe you do want somebody with a little more experience, just to have more people that have been around the league for a while, like on the coaching staff, like, and understand philosophically, like maybe that's the thing that you want. But then I also understand that, like, hey, fuck it, we're going to go all in. Let's go all in. And then just try to find somebody that's special. But I just don't know exactly what it is they're looking for. I think that Washington does an absolutely phenomenal job as far as keeping the lid on whatever it is that they're thinking at any given point in time, which is kind of frustrating. But I mean, there's a ton of names that I can be excited about in the sense of like, there's nobody in, I can't imagine there's somebody that they would announce that I'd be truly disappointed in. as much as just curious about how it is that it's going to look or how it is it's going to go. Like Jonathan Gannon here, yeah, if it was a coordinator, I'd absolutely take him. Brian Flores, I mean, he's not going to do anything lateral anymore, so that's whatever. But Dennard Wilson, I can make sense of that. Cullen, the defensive line coach in Kansas City, who has some experience as defense coordinator in Jacksonville, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like there are, and Patrick Graham, probably the best name out of all of us if we're talking about from a pure teaching standpoint, right? And that seems to jive as far as what Dan Quinn's doing, but I don't think they have any experience together. So, like, I don't know. I don't know what ends up being the most important. Raheem Morris ends up at the top of my list just because of how much I believe in him as a coach. And even though Atlanta didn't work out, like, the idea that we're going to have multiple guys that were, like, at the top of my coaching rung outside of Mike McDonald excites me just in general.
So, on the subject of Raheem Morris, and I want to zero in on him for a moment because, again, last week you said this is your top guy, right? And now John Keim seems to be lockstep saying, yeah, I believe this is the top guy. The overwhelming reaction from Commanders fans seems to be, and I find myself in this boat a little bit, K-Dot, just to be totally honest, right? I'm looking at the defensive ranks for Raheem Morris. I'll throw out 2009 through 2011. He's a young coach with Tampa Bay, so forget those because those are in the 20s and 30s, but I don't care about that.
Yeah.
The last 6 years, in 2020, he's the Atlanta defensive coordinator. They ranked 30th. In 2021, he goes to the LA Rams. They're ranked 9th. They win the Super Bowl. Okay, that's awesome. 2022, they're ranked 22nd. 2023, they're ranked 18th. He then becomes the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, 19th in his first season, 13th in his second season, and he also has 2 Rookie of the Year candidates, defensive Rookie of the Year candidates, in James Pierce and Xavier Watts. So from a teaching standpoint, that little nugget excites me, right, that those 2 guys are there. But the numbers themselves in terms of rank are not like this, this is a perennial top 10 defense. He's only been ranked top 10 once in the last 6 years. So continue to make the pitch, I suppose, to maybe skeptical Commanders fans and me.
Yeah, the pitch would be like he has 4 years of defensive coordinator, period, right, compared to the years that he has as far as head coach or all the other position groups that he's taught. I think what you look at as far as in the league in the sense of, do players felt as though they got a good education with him and have good things to say about him? The answers would be yes. Like, more bites the apple it does defensive coordinator, maybe it looks different. And as far as like what the roster turnover and how it is they played complementary and non-complementary football during prime periods, I'm not entirely sure. I know with LA, there were some aspects of things over the years where it was like after post Todd Gurley, they didn't know what was happening as far as the run game for a second. So like, I don't know timeline wise. I'd have to go back and have to look at all that thing. But no, like, so I think that's kind of that's the risk aspect to me with all of this, right? Is that I think that you can look at a lot of the veteran guys as far as the defense coordinators and say, you're going to have a bit of a ceiling. Like, what that ceiling entails, could it mean a Super Bowl? I mean, in Raheem Morris's case, it did one time, right? And look, maybe we have a guy on offense that's just a specialist, Sean McVay, eventually, and then we can do that thing, right? But like, the idea would be, if you hire Raheem Morris, are you hiring somebody that could potentially be Mike McDonald? No, I don't think that's the case. If you go and hire Cullen or Patrick Graham, are you getting somebody that might have that the Brian Flores or Mike McDonald like threshold? No, you're not really taking a chance there. You're saying that, okay, I kind of know what he does. I know that he fits within the building. And I think the culture and the players, once we get it good enough, would be enough to go and do this thing. If you're thinking about getting someone in here with a scheme big enough and like enough talent defensively to just say, hey, I'm going to make gold out of shit, there's some chances you could take. I don't think there's anybody right now that's a slam dunk that says, oh, they can do that in spades, right? But there's some chances you could take when we talk about like Karl Scott. That could be interesting, right? Like you could take a shot at it. It's just a matter of like, what are you going to do from a positional coach standpoint to make sure you have guys with experience? Or maybe you say, if you're Dan Quinn, fuck it, we're going in a different direction. We're just going to keep it not young. I'll be the most influential person, be the head coach, and we're just going to kind of go my way. So like, there's a possibility with that. I just don't know what he wants to do as far as the defensive philosophy. If he's completely cool with saying, I'm going to hand the keys over to somebody else and whatever they're thinking philosophically, like I don't know yet.
Yeah. The positives with Raheem Morris, right? So right now he is looking for that head coaching job, right? So it's quite clear that he wants to be a head coach, right? Now,
there's also better defensive coordinator opportunities out.
That too, right? So like San Francisco's is now open. He has ties to Kyle Shanahan. Green Bay's is now open, right? And so just for people that are unaware, Robert Saleh, former San Francisco defensive coordinator, after 1 year there, becomes the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. And then Jeff Hafley, after I want to say 2 years with the Green Bay Packers, becomes head coach of the Miami Dolphins, right? So now those are open, and he's tight with Matt LaFleur as well, right? So like he will have his pick of defensive coordinator, and he's clearly respected for all these guys to want him. Right. So recognizing all of that, though, K-Dot, I almost initially, I remember thinking when Dan Quinn said, okay, not necessarily off the table, I'm paraphrasing, not necessarily off the table that I call plays next year. I almost wonder if it makes sense to get a younger guy. And like you were maybe alluding to a little bit, Dan Quinn runs the defense, right? So Al Harris is a name to me that intrigues me because it ties so perfectly into what Dan Quinn said it is. It keeps ringing in my head. Turnover margin. We want to turn the ball over. And the common denominator in the last few years with turnovers, it's been Al Harris in Dallas, where he's had Trayvon Diggs lead the NFL in interceptions, and then Deron Bland, 2 different corners, lead the NFL in interceptions. And then this year it's Kevin Byard over in Chicago, and they lead the NFL in turnover margin. Can we attribute it all to Al Harris? No, but he, as a former DB, I think it shows that he's a really good teacher. He has some experience with Dan Quinn, and I think that he can sort of be onboarded with Dan Quinn, where he can be this excellent teacher, learn about becoming a defensive coordinator. He's already had some nice experience in these rooms, and Dan can lead the defense a little bit, a la a Mike McDonald, a la a D'Amico Ryans. Like, that's the thing that sticks out to me as intriguing. But as we wait more and more, I do think that we are zeroing in on Raheem, hoping that works out. But that's just my want, without knowing what they're looking for. Save that quote, which I think is very important.
The year that Trayvon got the 11 picks, Joe Whitt was also a defensive back coach and the
yes, he was
coordinator. So like, I don't know where it is he lands on this. Like, I don't know if it's, hey, we got to continue with somebody that speaks my language and maybe it's just a better fit. I don't know. I don't know if you go and hire Al Harris is it entirely too similar to what's happening with the Joe Whitt thing, and nobody really liked that experience, so we kind of want to get away from it. I can understand people saying, hey, look outside the box and go find somebody that's going to bring new ideas into the building instead of the ones and the retreads of what you have. Because, like, look, at the end of the day, I keep talking about their through lines from 2024 to 2025 that have to be, like, addressed to a certain degree. Offensively, there's some things that need to be addressed as far as, like, Jaden and the way that he plays, in my opinion. And defensively, I could say for the last 2 years, it didn't work. So, like, 2024 only works the way it does because of the shitty quarterbacks we played over the course of the year and the fact that we had an offense that could do things. They didn't look great at certain moments in time that year, right? It was serviceable, but you play some of the team that could run down our fucking throats. They did so at ease, right? So, like, I would say that right now, if you're going to give Dan Quinn a grade, regardless of what you think about the roster, it ain't passing, right? So, like, do we want to continue down the road as far as defense or not? Remember, I'm of the idea going into this offseason that I think the offense works, right?
Yes.
The defense itself, we need to figure it out because we're now 2 years running, and now you're saying we're going to cut this guy. What are you doing? Do you continue it or do you move in a different direction? I like the idea of bringing in new blood and some new ideas and fresh perspectives. I also think that something that me and you talked about, which is the attitude piece that we think is missing on the defense, right? And when I look at that, I'm trying to figure out, as far as from a fit standpoint, if we're going to have this and we're going to have this organization, we're going to be doing what it is we're doing, then I need somebody that gels with what it is we're trying to do. Joe Whitt, they keep doing this thing where they get the quiet leaders. They keep thinking like the quiet, stoic guys are the way to go, and I'm like, that's not what you need. Like, Dan can kind of lean into that sometimes, and, you know, he doesn't even want to do it. He's more rah-rah. You need somebody with some energy here. And, like, if I'm looking through all these guys, there's nobody I think that got more energy than Raheem Morris. Sometimes it's even to an annoying degree. But I think that, like, it might work here. There's a bit of corniness and cheesiness to him that fits what they're doing with that play like a commander shit. So, like, I just think it fits. Like, if we're talking about, like, trying to have everybody working in the right direction or the same direction, that to me is what makes sense as far as Raheem Morris. And I do think that he can get something out of these guys. But like I said, do I think that hiring Raheem Morris means the defense turns into what they have in Seattle? Fuck no. It doesn't do that.
Nor
right?
do I.
Right.
Same thing with Al Harris, by the way. I'm not expecting Seattle overnight. Even if we got Karl Scott from Seattle, I'm not expecting Seattle overnight.
But here's the other component to it is like I look at the reason I was big on Dan Quinn and Raheem Morris in that coaching cycle was because of the connections they had around the league, right? And the fact that they could build out these coaching staffs. And at the end of the day, you look at the coaching staff on paper for us the last 2 years, you're like, man, that's kind of an impressive group, right? And I wish some of the teaching in some of these groups were a little bit better. I know you've been calling out the position coaches probably better than anybody else I've heard.
Big time.
But yeah, there's no Sean McVay of defense coming in the door unless you really, really want to take a shot. But I also say if you do find a Sean McVay of defense, I think that you're also looking at a situation where you're going to restart that countdown in a year or two because somebody's going to want to hire him to be the head guy. So, like, remember, this is a league that they don't have original ideas. So the thing is right now, you're trying to find the Sean McVay of defense after you're seeing what's happening with Vrabel, defensive head coach, which you're seeing as far as Mike McDonald that happened in Seattle. You're seeing these defensive-minded guys sort of like D'Amico Ryans. And, like, you're starting to see it. It's become the trend again, right? So, like, I expect that if we have somebody that ends up being, like, lights out that dude, you better have the contingency plan ready. So, like, a part of me always trying to find, like, the head coach that has just enough stank on him to maybe they don't get another shot. I think Raheem's kind of finding that right now, so maybe he sticks around for a little bit. I don't know. There's some interest, but I actually think the solution would be I look through these names, and I actually want a combination of, like, two of these guys, honestly. I'd like a young guy and one of the other. Like, to me, the idea of, like, getting a Scott and a Cullen.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, that to me kind of works. Like, if you get somebody that can, like, hey, I have more experience with this, but I want the young guy to kind of control this thing and kind of work that way if they can communicate properly, like, that to me would be legit. There's always the risk of having too many cooks in the kitchen, but from what I understand and what I've seen from Dan Quinn, he will let you run your shit.
Yeah.
And leave you alone to do it.
Which is how it should be. At least you and I think, philosophically agree on that. I also think that the nice thing, though, is if you find that next sort of McVay type on defense, or your Mike McDonald, if you will.
Defense is good.
Yeah, which means the defense is good, which hallelujah, right? Like we would love that. I do think it's important that Dan Quinn's fingerprints are on it some, right? Because when we look at Mike McDonald, if they were to lose their defensive coordinator, Aiden Durd, or however it's pronounced, apologies, didn't look that one up, then it's like, oh, okay, but we still have Mike, right? If D'Amico Ryans loses Matt Burke, their defensive coordinator, people don't even know these names, by the way, right? Because it's D'Amico, because it's Mike.
Right.
This is wishful thinking on my part, but Dan Quinn being the defensive-minded guy, being an excellent defensive coordinator in Dallas, I want it to be similar, where if we lost our defensive coordinator, it's like, well, we got Dan, right? Like, those are the fingerprints that I'm hoping for, and I think, and Al Harris, that's just with the turnover margin. That's literally just a direct tie there. Nothing more than that. Or a Karl Scott or a Joe Cullen, one of the younger guys married to that. If they were to then move on, I'm like, well, we still got Dan. I don't want to be like, well, now what? Like, he's just the CEO type and we got to sort of do it over again or promote and hope that works out like we're doing with David Blough. So that's just my line of thinking, Kate.
No, I don't disagree with that line of thinking. It goes back to, I don't know what they think right now.
Agreed.
So, like,
we're all figuring that out. Yeah.
Right. So, like, there's a part of me that kind of thinks you get rid of Joe Whitt. Like, I thought that they were going to retain Joe Whitt and just kind of change his title and do something. Like, that's what I honestly thought was going to happen this year. They jettisoned him, which to me is, depending on this hire, is Dan Quinn admitting that the defense failed. And if the defense failed and that's philosophy, then that component, as far as making sure his handprints are on it, don't really matter.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. When he did take over the play calling, looking at KDOT's all 22 reviews and stuff, it looked like it did get a little better at least.
It did.
You know, and so we'll end up seeing what happens over here with the D coordinator
Especially
search.
Considering the more injuries over time, right? It's not like we got better in that room.
Yeah.
It got worse.
And I know that, so John Keim and Nikki Javala, speaking of Nikki Javala, in the last half an hour, we did interview former Steelers defensive coordinator Teryl Austin for the job as well. Nikki has expressed surprise that it has gone on as long as it has, this defensive coordinator search. I think you and I are both, at least I don't feel surprised by this. I don't know how you feel about it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think the surprise piece is the difference between what happened offensively and defensively as far as the hiring goes, right? Like I think people are in the idea of like they almost rushed to it to beat everybody to do this, and then defensively we're like, all right, I'm aware that Josh Harris has deep pockets and the money's probably not going to be the thing. Maybe how many years a contract is going to be might be a thing, which is why Mike McDonald could have possibly been here. The just don't have
Gotta be great. That Seahawks hype video. We'll get to it with the playoffs. But my
six
lord.
Just give him 6 years, you sons of bitch. Like, yeah, I don't know where we're gonna do with this. I honestly, like, I don't know what we're looking at from them, and that, like, the length of time that, like, I even look at, there's some guys that are still right now coaching football that I kind of want to see potentially be defensive coordinators. I mean, there's tons of guys. There's guys on that Denver staff that I definitely would love to interview as far as like what's going on going forward. Like, I don't know if they're doing their due diligence like they did last time, and it kind of depends on what you think. Partially, there could be an entire take that Washington's just entirely too slow in their processes, which is why you missed out on Mike McDonald. You might have missed out on Ben Johnson. Dan Quinn might have been your fifth choice if you believe that or you buy that narrative, right? I think you can paint that picture, especially if you like look at now. Maybe they just take too long to do what it is to do. Maybe there are too many cooks. Maybe there are too many people that got to ask what the fuck their opinions are before you get to somewhere. Or someone could say they do their due diligence, that they really, really want to make sure they're making the right choice. That being said, I just saw them jettison Cliff Kingsbury for what I don't understand, right? If they did do their due diligence, would be the case. So I think the longer it goes on, the more I would, while I'm not there and I might not believe it, I can say there's at least smoke on that theory, right? Like there's at least smoke. And that hot seat that everybody kind of talks about, I'm not entirely sure where it's at because I just don't know what they're thinking. But I definitely could sell it either way, I think, at this point.
Sure. On the subject of the offensive coordinator, matter of fact, why don't we just go over to the offensive coaching staff now that it's lending itself to that? Darnell Stapleton was promoted from assistant O-line coach to O-line coach, and then Shane Toub from quality control to assistant O-line coach. Quickly on the subject of David Blough and how quickly that occurred. Right. So the Detroit Lions were sniffing around him. He was a former quarterback for them. He has experience with that organization. I think we saw a guy we liked. I think we saw a guy that has familiarity with Jaden Daniels, and we ended up making the call. Right. A lot of people were like, well, what about Mike McDaniel, who now it looks like will be offensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Chargers. So then you go, man, like we missed out on Mike. Right. So the other thing that's happening is he is interviewing for head coaching jobs still, right? So you could have gotten Mike McDaniel and you'd be holding your breath right now because he's still interviewing for head coaching jobs while David Blough is maybe gone, right? So just something to consider as we continue to go through the coaching cycle everywhere, right? Just want to put that out there.
It makes so many more questions for me. There's just so many more questions I have. It's like, okay. Were you unaware that Blough was a hot commodity? How long did you know you were going to get rid of Cliff? If the Cliff conversation was as of such that it didn't make sense to get rid of him until after the season was over, what conversations were not happening? Like, did this catch you by surprise? Like, what's the deal? Like, to me, it's like of the idea that, like, if you knew you were going to get rid of Cliff, then there should have been a conversation with Blough because everybody knew that Blough was a fucking hot commodity. Everybody fucking knew. Blough was the name that everybody kept talking about, right? To me, it's just, what are they doing? Like, I don't know what, I just don't, like, and that to me is the scariest thing that you're going to hear me say, period, as far as the way that my brain works. Because remember, I'm still of the idea, 5-year plan, I liked what we signed up for, or I'm not going to say I liked it. I believe that it was working at least to some degree. And I do believe in continuity at least to some degree, unless you're going to wholesale change because you got somebody special coming in the door, right? So, like, if there is an opportunity for you to go get, if Sean McVay's available, yeah, I'll cut every last one of these fucking coaches to go get that guy and assume that over the course of the year I'm going to get better. But everything else is just, this all window dressing before we get fired. And, like, it's just, it's meandering around like the most you can probably get as a 500 team. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I believe in it a little bit more than that, but I just don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, we'll never have firm answers on the Cliff Kingsbury stuff, So it's going to be, well, maybe we will, but I don't think so. Like, it's going to be speculation for the most
Do we
part.
think it was a conversation literally at the end of the year, and then it was just like, you know what, this is going to work?
No, so actually in talking to Pauly Polo, who friend of the show, who's been on before, he
the Jaden's injury.
Yes. So the Jaden injury stuff, and he was saying, it must be deeper than that. And that the moment we chose to shut Jaden down is around the time it was decided that Cliff Kingsbury would be gone. And as I thought more about that, that made sense to me. Right. And especially when it came out with, I think, Ben Standig, and kudos to him, because he was asking questions around the philosophy of the offense and things like that, when other people were just like, oh, it's Cliff, he'll be fine. Like, he'll be here next year. Ben Standig was really the one that I think probably heard something at that time and said, hey, if they ask you to run the ball more, paraphrasing once again, like, what do you think? He's like, well, I got my philosophy and we're going to do things my way. It works. That's what comes with me, Cliff Kingsbury. Next thing you know, he's out. Right. So I do, having more time to let that idea marinate, that the moment we shut Jaden down was like a writings on the wall for Cliff Kingsbury, unless he changes, because this was a mutual parting of ways. I do believe in that.
So you don't talk to Blough?
That's a good question, right?
So
and that lends itself
like,
to, do we know what we're doing?
But
right?
That's my point. Is like, if you know you're going to go get Blough, then there is no rush. This was what it was supposed to be. It would have been Tavita Pritchard. He took the Stanford job. You elevated Blough. All part of the process, all part of the plan that we talked about when we started this thing, right? We elevate from within. This is what we do. We got it all settled. If there was legitimately like, hey, man, we really kind of want Mike McDaniel, but we're kind of scared that somebody was going to get it and this, I don't feel as good.
No, exactly. And this, by the way, K-Dot, I was trying to bring up last week, and I don't know that I did a great job of it, which was, hey, we got David Blough. Great. All I was hoping for was a due diligence thing that took place in the background that we never knew about, right? That we knew Mike McDaniel was still looking for a head coaching job, that if we were available, we were not his top choice. Like, I hope all that stuff happened. And even if taking a moment, even if Mike McDaniel wanted us more than any other job, we prefer David Blough, but we had that information.
Right.
That's what I'm hoping happened.
How much faith do you have that it did?
I'm 50-50, to be totally honest. And that's why I'm a bit nervous, right? And I'm even trying to pump the brakes on David Blough because he is a first-time play caller. It takes time.
So the most frustrating thing that I've seen as far as the David Blough thing is the conversation that's being wielded about how brave Dan Quinn is for doing this because he might have just elevated his replacement.
It was a super important hire. We talked about it. This is a super important hire.
My thing is that I don't think enough people are looking at the flip side. You hire somebody with no fucking experience and there's no telling if this is going to work or not. It might crash and burn. And
another reason it's risky.
You're going to get fired. Right?
Yes.
So like that's my thing. Like that side to me is where it's much more risky, right? Than the other side. Like there is nothing other than hype, or at least interpersonal stuff, that makes you believe that this guy's going to be special in that way. You're taking a really big chance on this. I don't think Blough has the same experience you could say McVay did when he took over.
No, he doesn't.
Right. So, like, this is a bit of a leap. Now, that being said, he could be amazing. I'm hoping he's amazing. We're all hoping he's amazing. I mean, he just brought in the white guy down at the bottom of the screen. It was a former quarterback, I forget his name. But his former teammate, he's like his assistant and shit. There's like, he's kind of creating this little thing to be comfortable with. I'm like, cool, I got it. I don't know, man. Like, you've been hyped for the last few years, but I don't know if this is going to be like the one flash in the pan sort of thing. I'd like to think that they truly believed in him, and it wasn't a thing where it's Dan Quinn and the organization are tired of seeing the guys that were on the coaching staff during the Shanahan era.
Danny Etling. I just wanted to, I was trying to remember. I was getting mixed up with Drew Petzing. I was like, I know that's not right.
I wanted to say Erling, and I was like,
Danny Etling. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. But that's the thing is, like, we just want to know. I feel more satiated knowing that they got a plan and that they're sticking to said plan. And that we're not completely throwing the plan away after 2 years, because I don't think last year is this failure that everybody else is. But I also look at all of this and say, I did at the beginning of this, right at the end of the season, said that I think this offseason is going to be a mad overreaction to what happened last year.
Yes, you have said that.
I think that that's the thing that's making the most sense to me right now. Is everybody, including Dan Quinn, including the front office, is overreacting
right. And if I could, to clarify the massive overreaction, of course, there's the fan piece of it, but this is more the organization.
Yeah.
Like, right? So you're letting go of both coordinators, right?
Yeah.
Year one, we go to the NFC Championship game. Looks like things are working. Year two, seemingly everyone's gone except for Dan Quinn, right? Like, that could be defined as an overreaction. On the subject of this coaching staff now, so we had mentioned it earlier, Darnell Stapleton now promoted to offensive line coach. Shane Toub now promoted to assistant offensive line coach. You have Danny Etling, who is David Blough's guy, right? So that looks like a hire that he was like probably hammering, saying, I want that guy. And there's also DJ Williams, who made the lateral move from quarterbacks coach with the Atlanta Falcons to quarterbacks coach here with the Washington Commanders. And I'll be honest,
Lateral, but name.
What'd you say?
Lateral in a lot of ways, but not really.
Yeah, but I do have skepticism around that one, if I'm being totally honest, right? Like the last name, the last name matters, right? The idea that Doug Williams didn't know, I actually believe, but I'm also like, we didn't have to do that, right? Like, just because that's his son, like, cool, it's a feel-good story. But if I'm looking at him being quarterbacks coach of the Atlanta Falcons, I would assume that his primary focus was with Michael Penix, who I was very high on. And at the end of the season, I was like, geez, he don't look right. Right. But now he's our quarterbacks coach. Maybe it's fit, right? Fit does matter. But, it does lead to questions. You let go of Cliff. You promote. Okay. Is this an evolution of the offense? Do you want it to look the same, just a little more running? Like, it does lead to a lot of questions, K-Dot.
Agreed. That's all I have. Like, I just saying, I was like, I don't find, everybody can tell me what their theory is. I have no clarity on this, because anytime that I have, somebody might posit a theory, and then I'm like, okay, if that's the case, why this? And it's for everything. Like, the more and more that gets illuminated in this process, the more and more I'm feeling as though there isn't a plan.
Which is scary. Right? Very
absolutely scary. Terrifying. Because here, my thing is that, like, it means you guys had a plan, you gave up on the plan, and now you're flying by the seat of your pants. And, like, I'm of the idea that I hate that, and I just think that if that's the case, if that is truly the case, then we are this is going to sound hyperbolic, but we are rearranging deck chairs in the Titanic. Like, that's, in my opinion. Like, this is just
no, that's a good analogy.
I just think that this is where we're at. So, like, in my opinion, it's like, all right, Jaden, stay healthy, do as much as you can to be as good as you can, and hey, Adam Peters, keep crushing it as far as or try to crush it as far as the roster moves go, and then we'll see who it is we can get to go elevate this whole thing. So, like, I remember my biggest regret of anything I've said this offseason has been when I said to you, because somebody commented about it, that the last 2 years were a waste of time. They're definitely not a waste of time. They are were we moving towards this idea, this grand idea that I thought we were all on board with? I guess not. And if it's not, then okay. What's the plan now?
Which is a fair question, and we will continue to find out. On the subject of David Blough again, this is a meteoric rise. We've said this a couple times, but he started as assistant quarterbacks coach this season, right? I mean, he was there last season too, but like entering this season, he was assistant quarterbacks coach. It almost feels like a super friendly house of cards. Like no one died, but like all of a sudden Tavita Pritchard's out of the way because he becomes Stanford head coach. Now he's quarterbacks coach, right? Cliff Kingsbury goes, hey, I don't see eye to eye philosophically. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. It worked last year. I don't see what the problem is now. Well, now he's gone. Next thing you know, the assistant quarterbacks coach in August is now your offensive coordinator at the age of 30, right? Like when we look at Sean McVay, he had more time in the coaching staff, right? And then became an offensive coordinator for a couple of years, then became the head coach. And even he admits it took him time to get used to play calling, right? You got your Matt LaFleur. He had his time. You got your Mike McDaniel. He had his time, right? More time than David, right? And then I found a funny one with Kevin O'Connell. Remember when we fired Jay Gruden? Our offensive coordinator at the time, Kevin O'Connell. We promoted Bill Callahan as interim head coach. What would it have looked like if Kevin O'Connell were the one promoted instead?
Still go back to Greg Williams, but that's me.
Go ahead.
That still pissed me off. Look, man, I actually, the more and more that I've heard over the last like week or so in conversations or at least reading and some videos and stuff, Tavita Pritchard is a bigger name than I think people realize.
Yep.
And I think that there are people that rate him a little higher than other people. Him going back to Stanford just makes all the sense in the world. I mean, if you know his history, like he was there when Andrew Luck and RG3 was going to potentially be there. That whole fucking thing that they were doing, it was amazing, right? I keep positing all these fucking theories, and it doesn't really, like, it's not that it matters, but like I still think the Tavita Pritchard thing has something to do with all this. I really do. Like, there's a part of me that almost feels as though they might have rated Blough higher than Cliff, and maybe they was afraid that they were going to lose Blough anyway. Like, I don't know. To me, this doesn't feel like, to me, like, there's certain aspects of this to feel like the plan all along, and then there are other things is like, it couldn't have been. Couldn't have been the plan all along. They wouldn't have known this very well.
I don't think it can be, right?
No,
because
that's what I'm saying. It can't.
The likelihood that, like, because that would involve the plan being like Tavita's going to move on, right? Like,
I still think that that's the piece. I think that that's the piece that I don't think it.
I think that shook things up in the plan.
I
right?
agree with that. Or sped up timelines.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, maybe you hold on to David Blough. He becomes quarterbacks coach while Tavita Pritchard is offensive coordinator. You get another year or two. Tavita becomes a head coach somewhere, you know, and David now with more experience becomes.
It might just be the combo of it's literally Detroit showed interest sooner than anyone expected.
Yeah.
And Tavita left.
And that happens. That's business also, right? Like, you know, you get a nice offer from another company, you can leverage it, you can get a promotion and title, you can make more, like at your own place. Like, that happens. On the subject.
But sorry.
No, go ahead.
Knowing everything you know, which is you don't know anything about David Blough.
Correct.
If Detroit rated him that high and were willing to give him the keys to arguably the most talented offense in the league, or one of the most talented offense in the league, like that, you would talk about a meteoric rise. Like, that would have been insane. So, like, if they were talking about giving the keys to this guy, just based on that fact alone, do you jettison Cliff because you don't want to get rid of this guy? Like, is that a legitimate option?
I think it is. Honestly, I think it is, because you don't want to miss out on the guy. And also, that's the crew that Ben Johnson was a first-time play caller with them, right? And they rated him highly. He becomes the head coach of the Chicago Bears. It looks great. Okay, well, if they rate this guy highly too, it depends on who's rating. Detroit's a nice place to be rated by.
Amazing.
You know, so like, if they are saying it, it's one thing if the Browns are like, hey, let's look at him. We'll be like, oh, okay, we got some time here. But like, if it's the Detroit Lions, and they're willing to make a 30-year-old from now a different place their offensive coordinator, yeah, I think it's something you consider. Absolutely, Kate. And I think that's a big reason why he's now our offensive coordinator, along with the history with Jaden now. Yeah.
So if that is the case, you feel great and I feel great.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm hoping so, along with the Mike McDaniel piece that we did our due diligence over there, right? That also would help.
I think the Mike McDaniel piece, I don't think anything that happened to Miami as far as him being a head coach hurts him, head coaching wise, going forward. Maybe him trying to look like Tony Montana every week, maybe that hurts. But like, beyond that, I don't think anything that he did in Miami actually hurts him. I do think that you just have to think, we're gonna hire somebody with more cachet than Cliff Kingsbury to be the offense coordinator. What's the chance of the opportunity he's gonna be here past a year or two? Like, can you really do that? Like that, I think that to me is enough to, if that is a concern, you shut that door immediately. Like, if you look at Mike and Mike's like, hey, look, I'm looking at head coaching jobs right now. If I get the opportunity to do it again, I'm going to do it again, Dan. Like, no.
I think that's what happened, right? Because then I think, right? Because it's like, I'll take your job, but just a heads up, if, Buffalo opens up, for example, I'm going to take that interview. Cool. Now you've potentially lost both, right? And now you're in big trouble. Right.
So that means, like, even if you rate Mike McDaniel higher than that reason alone makes me not even want to take the interview.
It's like, part of the, you're part of, it's risk weighting, right? Like, you are determining that, or risk assessment rather. I wanted to touch on Darnell Stapleton, and that this could be looked at both ways, right? Like, one, it's kind of strange, right? That, okay, so Bobby Johnson's gone. Cliff Kingsbury is gone. We've got an issue with the philosophical view of the offense moving forward. And yet we promote one guy to Cliff's job and we promote another guy to Bobby's job, right? So like, there is that view of it. There is also continuity from David Blough's perspective, right? Like, that he has worked with these guys before. By all accounts, Darnell Stapleton, very well respected and very well liked by the players, which I think is also an important piece of this. He is also going to be at the Senior Bowl. right? He's going to be help coaching. Like, so he is a guy that has his fingerprints all over the place, former O lineman himself. So just the two sides of it, K-Dot, which is that I think from the continuity standpoint, and we will be able to judge all of this over the course of training camp as we see what they're, outlining for these guys along with preseason and then the regular season. I don't mind this move. I do have some skepticism, but I don't mind it. And same thing with Shane Toub being promoted as well. I do think that the entire thing is a tweak to the offense, not an entire overhaul. So I'm okay with it, but I just wanted to state both sides of that.
I don't know enough about what's happening in the building. I don't know enough about these guys. I know that Cliff leaving with Brian, to me, feels as though they're looking at themselves as a package deal wherever they go to.
Mm-hmm.
I also can imagine it does not rate nicely for Cliff knowing that David Blough is about to jump over him to wherever, because Cliff still ain't got a job, and I don't think the head coaching thing is going to work out unless
I don't think it is. I think he'll be an OC.
Vegas possibly if they start getting desperate at the end and there's some names to start to drive. I think that's the one to look out for. But yeah, I think that it's just crazy, dog. Because you'd think that if there's gonna be anybody that's gonna be his boy, it's Blough, right? But it's dog. Blough's made his own name without you at this point. He's got more hype than you at this point. So the fuck. So I don't know, man. I can see some of this shit being petty. I can see some of this shit being what. But I do think that the Brian Johnson piece is not. It was the best unit. I just think it's wherever I go, I'm taking Brian with me. I think that's it. And anything that they do as far as
Brian or Bobby?
Bobby, sorry.
I'm good.
Taking him with me. That's what I think is the case. Because they're boys. And I think that's what it is. And it was either going to be him or it was going to be Blough. I don't think Cliff wants to go anywhere by himself.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. So that's another added element with David Blough is could he also go with Cliff, right? Could he go to Detroit? Could he also go with Cliff? You're just you know what, just make him the OC.
That's the thing is if you're Blough and you're if Cliff comes to you and is hey man, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go get a head coaching job. I'm gonna get a head coaching job. You're gonna see some things in the media about Washington. Don't worry about it because I'm gonna get the head coaching job. And David's I don't know if you are, Cliff. And it's just I'm gonna go talk to Adam.
But also, if you're David, I think if you're David Blough, this is a great opportunity, right? You get to be offensive coordinator of the hot young quarterback,
it's
right?
Not a better opportunity to Detroit.
I'm not sure, but anyway,
it's just it's the Jaden piece is where you rate Jaden.
Yeah, but there's also so much cap space. There's some maneuverability. So it gets interesting.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's go ahead and talk about the playoffs now. Unless you had any final thoughts on the state of the
Nah, man,
stuff.
fuck this shit.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Just sign some guys, dog.
We will be able to see who the free agents are. We got a number of free agents on our end, so a lot of flexibility with this roster once again because we are pretty in love with 1 year, 2 year deals. But it sounds like Adam maybe is going to swing a couple. We will see.
Hire Raheem. We're going to win 3 games next year. I see it.
Which would be a disaster for you.
Yeah, but I think that's what's going to happen.
All right. Well, anyway, so on to the playoffs. A pretty fun divisional round. So we had a pretty awesome wild card weekend, and then the very first game, electric in Denver, and then the news breaking right after Denver wins that Bo Nix is out for the remainder of the playoffs. I was absolutely shocked when that came through. Then Seattle absolutely steamrolls the 49ers. And then the next day, the freaking Houston Texans. I believed in that defense so much. And I thought we had talked about it. I was like, CJ got it out of his system. Nope, he had plenty more in him. That was a disaster. Congrats to the Patriots for winning my side piece team. Let it be noted. And then the final game, the LA Rams do overcome Chicago and Iceman Houdini, who then pulls off the greatest throw I've ever fucking seen. That was unreal. And I am a Caleb hater. That was the greatest throw I've ever seen on that 4th and 4. Runs back to the 40. I love that the play-by-play is going to be Caleb Williams passed 14 yards to Cole Kmet, touchdown. When if you saw what you saw, that was a 50-yard throw on a rope in the corner as time is expiring, basically. Wow, what a divisional round, K-Dot.
Do you see the special sauce now?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I also see 50% completion, but yes, I do.
It's just about the sauce, dog. Here's the thing.
The sauce is there.
Hey, you look at a McDonald's menu, right? You see the Big Mac. You see, oh my God, look at the bread's in line with that, and they got the stuff, and it's all. And you get the meal. It does not look like that. But you know what it's got? Special sauce. And as long as you get special sauce, it's like everything can look pretty sloppy, but as long as you get sauce, you're like, it's a good goddamn burger. You know? This is what it is. Like, Caleb's he's special. I don't give a fuck with anybody. He's special.
No, he certainly is, because that is now back-to-back weeks where he has made unbelievable throws. It's one thing if the 4th and 8 against Green Bay wildcard round is rolling to your right. As a righty, you've already got momentum. Going to your left, like in that spot, amazing. And then he somehow topped it with that throw against the LA Rams for me.
Although I do think the Stafford throw to the sideline near the end, was that to Puka? I forget who it was to. There's a throw that Stafford makes this last week that I was like, hold on, what? Like, you can still do that, dog? There were some special things happening this last week, except for the guy that I said was the best quarterback in the NFL.
Did you see that press conference, by the way? So Sean McDermott then gets fired, right? Which, at least for me, I was like, that sucks. But also, they've been at it for so long. I kind of get it from a new energy perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not working. Let's give something a shot. Brandon Beane gets promoted. I thought he should have been gone too, but instead, Brandon Beane's there, GM and now president of football operations, along with owner Terry Pagula. And that press conference was insane, K-Dot, where they throw Keon Coleman under the bus. He says that Brandon Beane, it wasn't his pick, despite seemingly plenty of video evidence suggesting he really wanted Keon Coleman. Seems strange in Buffalo as they now look for a new head coach, and Josh Allen's going to sit in on each and every one of these interviews.
There are organizations that aren't typically used to having success, that once that success walks in the door, quarterback, they become God. And, like, at the end of the day, Josh Allen, look, the way I rate him going into this season was that he finally got over his bullshit, and, like, he was going to stop trying to be hero when he didn't need to be and rely on things. And the reason you see all the emotion at press conference post-game is that he knows, the same way we all know, this one was on you. This is not – I'm not calling out the defense. I'm not calling out the receivers. I'm not calling out anybody. And trust me, I probably could, at least to some degree, but it's on you. And you know this, and he knows this. Like, so, like, the idea is that after you see that, it feels as though the organization is just doubling down on Josh's God. And I'm like, all right, Godspeed with that. Like, am I a Josh Allen believer? Yeah, I wouldn't have called him what I consider the best quarterback in football, but even that, I can't say that now. I absolutely can't say that now. How the fuck am I going to say that now when you look at his age, his accomplishments compared to Lamar Jackson? Is it right for me to put Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? No, it's not. Like, I might think he's more talented. I might like his durability. I might like a lot of things about him, but as of right now, motherfucker, you ain't got a good track record of this shit. Like, you start looking at how many fourth quarter comebacks do you have? How many overtime wins do you have? It starts looking nasty when you really do the digging on this. So, like, I don't want to call it like a total racial element, but there's a little bit to it. But there's also, I think, there's a little bit to it. Like, I have Lamar Jackson try to cry at a press conference about what it is he did, and I don't think anybody's feeling for him the way they felt for Josh Allen. It's just not going to happen. I mean, shit, look at what happened when Caleb Williams decided he was going to cry about anything.
Oh my Lord, yeah.
Yeah, I know. You and your ilk. Just hate Caleb for no goddamn reason. Look, I don't. So Josh is just in this position where it's like, or you're in an organizational position where you're just like, he is the single greatest thing to happen to our franchise in 40 years. Wow, what do we do to leverage that? Do you make him the happiest person he could possibly be and, like, make sure that he's got everything that he thinks he needs? Or do you big boy it and say, hey, I know what's good for you, and this is what's going to happen? I prefer the organization to do that. I don't disagree with having somebody have influence or at least talking to your stars. I think that that's important. But to have him, like, I do think that they're going to have him run a significant portion of the show.
I think sitting in on the interviews is a bridge too far for me, just from the outside looking in, because I think if Josh goes, I like this guy, then once again, Brandon Beane is put in a position, based on Terry Pagula's words, where he is just not really the one making the decision again. Right? Because if Josh says, I really want this guy, Brandon picks somebody else, and then it doesn't work. Oh, we should have listened to Josh. Right? Or if Josh Allen picks the guy and it doesn't work, well, Josh is still God, isn't he? So, like, it doesn't matter. So, like, the whole thing is very strange. And go ahead.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, but, all right. So looking at the opposed, the other guy I brought up was Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Did you see the Steve Bisciotti?
Yes. Loved it. Steve's
basically outright saying Lamar don't run shit on these motherfucking parts, right? Basically screaming it into a microphone like Lamar ain't gonna. And everybody, the word is on these streets in Baltimore is that Lamar's top choice was Cliff. Now I'll tell you, hiring Cliff over Jesse Minter, one of the worst mistakes you could have possibly made. Okay? So, like, I agree with what the organization's doing and saying, well, fuck, this is what we're going to do.
Yes.
But I do think it would be asinine not to at least consider what Lamar Jackson is saying. But then there's also that racial element. Josh is sitting on meetings.
Yes.
Lamar, shut the fuck up. But it could be just one organization is better than the other.
Well, it is.
Also think
Baltimore is objectively better than Buffalo.
Yeah.
Like, and I think everyone knows that as well. And after that press conference, you definitely know it. So the thing.
Sounded a dick, though.
Yes, agreed. No, for sure. Right. When he was like, he gets input, but I have the power. He has no power. He didn't quite need to say it like that.
No, he didn't.
But like, that is how you want it run. Maybe you're just a bit nicer with the language as a way to deliver your message, etc. Whatever. Right. He's a billionaire. You know, fuck.
I don't care how many MVPs. Negro, you ain't got no sex.
But when I look at Josh Allen, right, it's to your point. That's another multi-turnover game in a spot where you didn't need it. The end of the first half was asinine. That fumble was insane. If a rookie did it, I would be laughing and being like, even a rookie shouldn't make that mistake. For Josh to make that mistake is insane.
Yep. Right?
That's one. Two, just the first interception. What are you doing there? Like, you put too much air on it. Actually, I kind of made fun of Caleb for his throw last year. I think it was against Jacksonville. He put too much air on it. It got picked. This was in London, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, you put too much air on it. Josh just made the same mistake on the road, right? When you have that many turnovers and Lamar is getting knocked for all the turnovers, right? Like, it's more similar than people think. You can prefer Josh Allen to him. That's fine, right? Like, you could do that. I think Josh Allen's spectacular is worthy of it. Lamar's spectacular is worthy of it too. And I think more recently, Lamar has actually shown more progress, in my opinion, than Josh. Where, like, last year, he did have the 2 turnovers, but he started overcoming it. Mark Andrews drops the ball. It goes to OT. Maybe Josh wins. That's fine. Although he's 0-7 now in OT games, so who knows? And then this year, the throw to Isaiah Likely. He comes down with it. You kick a field goal. You're good. Instead, you miss. Like, that's it. So, like, I think Lamar in end-of-game situations has gotten a whole lot better.
It's not close.
You know, go ahead.
It's like, and I'm saying this as someone who going into this season said Josh is.
Well, I appreciate your objectivity. Go ahead.
It's not the case. Now, maybe do I look over the course of this entire season and Lamar not being 100%, Lamar absolutely not having his best season ever. So, like, you go to that power ranking thing. Do I still potentially rate Josh a little higher than Lamar just based on, like, right now power ranking? Maybe. But if we're talking about, like, if you ask me who's the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, I think I'd have to completely silent up. Because if you're asking me Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson overall, no. Like, it's Lamar. Like, we talk about one guy who basically changed the position to some degree and had done it at a level that nobody else has done, compared to the promise of the Great White Hope that is not necessarily there yet. As a matter, the best conversation I've heard about this, and I'm trying my best to tiptoe through this without stealing any of their points. Nick Wright and Bomani Jones were talking about the Lamar Josh Allen thing, and I thought it was a great combo in the sense of, like, yeah, this is where people aren't being as honest as they need to be on this particular thing in this particular comparison. And I also think that this is not unheard of. There are guys that catch the same amount of shit historically. Like, I think a lot of people don't remember the way that everyone treated Peyton Manning before he won a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Right? So, like,
yeah. Boy, there were questions. I remember
right?
that.
So, like, there were guys. Phillip Rivers never escaped it. So, like, there are dudes that, like, I think we because of how much shit goes on, we forget, like, what the vibe was. You couldn't go on Around the Horn or PTI without them trashing the shit out of Peyton Manning. And there were some of the guys that were Peyton Manning believers. So I'm like, this isn't new. And the only way that you're going to be able to get over it is win a fucking Super Bowl. I just think one organization seems like they're going about it in a much better way than the other. And
Yeah.
I'd also say that in a way that they build the constructive rosters in the first place.
Now, and this is going to be a teaching moment for us also with the guy like Jaden Daniels, at least the way he's perceived, right?
Yeah.
That he is this, like, he can be a superstar, right? Like after year one, I mean, I was like, dude, I think he's number 3 in the NFL. I went all the way with it. But like Jaden can do stuff like this. Josh needs somebody, and this is why I don't like him sitting on the meetings. I think it's a borderline disaster that he's sitting in on these meetings. He needs someone to check his ass, because like as he continues being God and he's like, oh, I need to do all this stuff, he needs somebody to pull him over and be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously,
I don't think that was the case this game.
What'd you say?
I don't think that was the case this game.
I think it is.
So the only thing that I push back on this is why my concern for Josh right now is I don't think it was hero ball. I think he was frazzled. I think he was shook in this game. Like I don't.
Well, the Bills haven't won many road games, right, in the postseason, so that's part of it.
But that to me is the crying after the game. I don't think it's hero ball. Like he fucked this up, and there were moments he just didn't look comfortable in this game. Like to me, that to me felt like we went beyond. He showed me something else. I've seen you make the dumbass things because you're doing the hero stuff. There was probably one of those turnovers were definitely that. But in this game, it just felt like he was rocked. To me, it just felt like he was shell-shocked. Like, I was looking at Josh Allen the entire game like, oh, boy, this is not good. Oh, boy, I don't think – because, like, I'm expecting him to turn on the hero at some point to get there, and it never got there. This just never really got there. To me,
it kind of looked like he was in that mode, like, I need to win this game.
I think you get to a point in which you start realizing, all right, they've shut down James Cook. I need to make something happen, but I just don't think there was ever a point in which usually when he's playing the hero ball stuff, it still looks calm to some degree.
Okay, I see. I would say that the moment got to him. So there. How about that?
Yeah,
I'll meet you there, right?
Yeah.
Because the screen to Khalil Shakir, which he bounced, right? That could have been a first down. No one knew the whistle blew, right?
But that's my thing.
Right?
That's not hero ball. That's like, what is wrong with you?
So that's frazzled. So to your point, so I'm meeting you there. The miss to Dawson Knox.
Oh my God.
That's the game. Then I think back to the 2-point conversion against the Eagles. He missed, right? Like the moment seems to get to him, right? Like, so I think you need a coordinator to check him. And by that, I mean, it's going to help him in those moments. It's not to kill his confidence. It's to just go play within yourself, right? Because I think stuff like that, when you're allowed an emotional high without anybody checking you, you're not getting better. You're indulging in your own emotion. I think somebody can help with that. That's what I'm trying to say.
There's a guy with a track record of it.
Who would that be?
Brian Dable.
That's exactly who I'm thinking. Because
but
I
also,
think
from my opinion, from what I've heard, is Josh's top pick.
Yeah, and by the way, then it works because I think Brian is the type of person who would check him. I think it's then fortuitous that is his top pick, right? Because he could easily pick someone softer. I think Brian Dable would be a excellent hire because I think he's a good coach. I know what happened in New York. I think he's a good coach. I think he helped Josh Allen become Josh Allen, and I think he's the type of abrasive personality that will be needed in bigger moments, and they can grow together. That's what I'm thinking for them.
I agree with that. I think it just makes sense. I will say I do rate Brian Dable at least to a certain degree, but New York became an absolute fucking fiasco that he's got to answer for.
He does. He most certainly does. Let's talk about these upcoming games where we have, thank you, K-Dot, AFC Championship game, which unfortunately will not feature Bo Nix so it's going to be Jarrett Stidham against the New England Patriots, who are 4.5-point favorites on the road, and then the Seattle Seahawks hosting the LA Rams part 3. Both of those games have been awesome so far. It's been awesome. And let me also raise my hand because another quarterback I've been hating on is Bo Nix. He was awesome. He was absolutely awesome against the Buffalo Bills. Throw after throw on point. I couldn't believe my eyes, right? And it was just, hey, the Broncos have made it this far because of their defense, but Bo stepped up in that moment. And it was, hey, hats off to him. I think it's fair to say at this point, I was definitely wrong on him. Like he's been really good. He's been really good. And it sucks that he's going to be missing this game, K-Dot.
Man, once again, I know people will still give me shit about JJ McCarthy, and once again, if you think about that in that way, you're still right. I don't look good yet, but I still thought this was going to be the greatest quarterback class of all time, and I think it's true. I think it's true. I really do think it's a pick your poison still thing. And once again, I have not given up on JJ. It just doesn't look good so far. He did show some things at the end of the season that made me kind of excited, but whatever. I just think it's a pick your thing, and it depends on where it is they landed. Yeah. I do also believe that during this time period, I did say that Denver would lose right around here because Bo Nix would throw them out of the game at the beginning of the season, or in our
you did. Predictions. You did.
So one would think if Bo Nix is not there to throw them out of a game, then they might even have a better shot to win.
Interesting.
Very possible. I think
very possible.
I just think it's food for thought.
It's an intriguing spot because Jarrett Stidham is in the ultimate can't lose. Like, if he throws 6 picks, it really doesn't matter. It's just like, it was a backup quarterback. We never stood a chance anyway, whatever. I think Sean Payton's going to be like, sling it, buddy. Like, just go for it, because the Patriots are going to obviously stack the box and make you beat them. Go ahead and do it. Like, I think it's going to be, I think people are going to be surprised at how much Jarrett Stidham we see, like, his number called. And it's going to be like, hey, shock the world. You got nothing to lose. It'll be on these guys if you don't do well. It's all good.
And that defense.
And that defense is nice. And if it got to Josh Allen, why can't it get to Drake May? We'll see. That's going to be his first road playoff game, right? Like, so it is different than playing at home, which a lot of these quarterbacks, Caleb got to play at home. Drake's got to play at home. Bo's got to play at home. Like, now we're going to see Drake on the road in a spot where he's favored. It's such an intriguing position against this Denver Broncos defense. Who do you like in this game?
I like Denver, like, in the sense of, like, what it is happening with their the defense is so their defense. And Drake, you can get your hands on him, and you can mess him around a little bit, and there's some games where he looks a little sloppy at certain points, but then he usually kind of gets his head on right, and then he kind of continues on through it. So, like, if we're looking at the best unit in this game is easily the Denver Broncos defense, and there's a gap, right? So, like, there's a big gap. It's a toughie. I don't think Commanders fans are ready for Drake May playing for a Super Bowl. I think that might be hard for some of you. At least Caleb's not there too, because I don't think that.
Yeah, when you mentioned the Patriots Bears Super Bowl, I was like, oh my god,
bad. I want it so fucking bad. But I'm picking New England. Okay. I do think I like New England's defense enough, right, that they can fuck with Jarrett Stidham, but like I hate these because I don't trust Sean Payton as much as I can throw that son of a bitch. So, like, he's gonna mad scientist this shit to fuck up. Like, I don't know. I think early on in this game, we'll know what's gonna happen with the Denver offense and, like, what Sean Payton's game plan is. Because, like, a good portion of this season, if you really look at what they've been trying to do, is, like, eliminate the idea of Bo Nix throwing them out of the game. So what do? We're gonna play it safe, guys. We are completely okay with punting. We'll punt all day fucking long because we got the defense to fucking do it, right? So if that's the game plan, it has had success. They were the number 1 seed for a reason. You can do that and just say, we're not going to give Jared as much opportunities to. Another part would be like, Vrabel's going to try to get in his brain as far as like what's happening. I love this coaching matchup. I love in the McDaniels piece, which is also not taken into consideration. Like, what is McDaniels thinking on this? There's a part of me that like you said, maybe they just say, fuck it. Jared, go light him the fuck up. And, like, nobody's expecting it. And if I'm sorry, but if you are quick in a game, if you end up with, like, a 14-point lead, a 10-point lead, and you got the Denver Broncos defense, you're in a really good spot. Like, you're in a really, really good spot. So, like, I just think early on we'll kind of know. We'll kind of know, like, all right, what is this kind of shaping up to be? Because I do think that, like, once a team gets out to a lead in this game, I think it stays.
Yeah. I would agree with that. This doesn't feel like a back and forth type thing. Head says New England, heart says Denver. I'll just go with Denver just to be on the other side of it. But the reason my head says New England, they're 8-0 on the road. Mike Vrabel will have these guys prepared, and I think they are also willing to punt the ball. Yeah. Right, and go, okay, Jared, you beat us. Right, I think Vrabel's a fabulous coach. The reason heart with Denver is because I love the defense. I love that they're at home. This is Drake's first. This is a bit ahead also, but I think Jared's going to end up playing well enough that they can actually win this game. Maybe catch some people. by surprise. Yeah. Yeah. So, and Drake's first road game, I'm very curious to see what that looks like in a spot where Josh Allen didn't do well. Because imagine for Bills fans, right? They have been knocking on the door for this long. They had Josh Allen. They had the easiest division in football. And year 2 of Drake made, they're playing for a Super Bowl. This would be insane if you're a Bills fan. I mean, just love. So for Bills fans, I hope Denver wins. That's what I'll say. All right, let's go ahead and flip it to the other side, which is the Seattle Seahawks and LA Rams Part 3. I'm very excited for this one. I think a lot of people are very excited for this one. The Seahawks absolutely steamrolled the 49ers. The game was over after the opening kickoff. They didn't need to score any more points after the extra point. It would have been 7-6. Instead, it's 41-6. And then the LA Rams' second straight road win against the Chicago Bears. It's going to be great. I think it was 38-37 last time. Darnold has turned the ball over multiple times in both games. Mm-hmm. K-Dot, who do you like in this one?
Lord knows I can't tell you how excited I am for this. I actually did contemplate flying out there. It was going to cost me a fucking grip. I kind of wanted to do it. I just think this is going to be awesome.
It's going to be electric.
This is going to be an amazing game. While I do think Denver, I think the other game is going to be like hella interesting. And if you're like a defensive minded person and you like really, really like that kind of like, hey, we're right on the Rager's edge. Like, I think that'll be it, but I think it'll be boring for most people. This game is everything. This is the 12th man yelling. This is the stars and everything. LA. I'm picking LA. And look, I love what Seattle's doing. I think everybody knows where I rate Mike Macdonald. But if you know me in the sense of where I rate Mike Macdonald, especially these last few years, you also know the comparison I've always had for him before it became a niche thing to do was that he was the defensive Sean McVay. You're not quite Sean yet, but you're getting there, buddy. And I think that this is one of those stepping stones. I don't see McDonald in a situation where he plays in an NFC Championship against Sean McVay again, and the outcome's the same. I think he beats him next time. But in this particular situation, the best unit, someone would say probably in this game, is Seattle's defense. They have not gotten to Matt Stafford this season. Like, Stafford has still been able to throw on these motherfuckers. Like, and I think that can continue. I think the first game he had like 450. I don't think he's thrown a pick yet against these guys. Like, it's so like the thing that you would probably say, all right, this is what gives Seattle the advantage. It has not necessarily been that way for the LA Rams, right? It's kind of been like, all right, what's going to happen at the end of the game for this thing? And I think that's kind of what it rates. And as much as McVay has done some things recently that make me question him in some of these like really big moments, I don't question Matt Stafford, and I don't question Puka Nacua. And like, there are some guys like, and I also think defensively, shout out to Macaulay Culkin, the most underrated defensive player in my opinion this season is Poona Ford. It's legit. Like, I don't know
no, it is. Hey, he loves Poona Ford,
like, but it's true. Like, watch him play defense. It's fucking true. The space eating that he does is insane. Like, it's good shit. Yeah, man, I think the 12th man is going to be a motherfucker, and like, I really do think it's a bit of a toss-up, and I'm just barely saying, okay, give me LA. You know I love LA. You know I love that team. I love Sean McVay, but it's just that it's the Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua of it all.
Sure. And in that second game, right, think about what it took for Seattle to win. It was that very strange 2-point conversion that suddenly goes their way. It's a punt return for a touchdown that led to the Rams firing their special teams coordinator. They got a new one. Seems to have cleaned up a little bit. Devontae Adams didn't play. Mm-hmm. Right? 457 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And the nice thing for the LA Rams guys is that I think Carolina and Chicago were both more uncomfortable road environments than Seattle. Right? And here's why. Because they have gone against Seattle many times. There's a familiarity there. And with Chicago is in the teens, freezing cold, etc. And Carolina, I think it was their first playoff game in like 20-something years. They're not used to going over there. They had lost prior to in the season to these guys.
I get where you're going for it, but come on, man.
No. I actually think that there's a level of comfort. Like, these teams know each other. Okay. Right? These teams know each other. And the Rams defense has been able to turn over Darnold multiple times. But I'm rolling with my heart. I'm rolling with the 12s.
I love it, man.
Sam Darnold gets it done. Give me Seattle. We're going to get a Seattle-Denver Super Bowl in my all-heart Super Bowl. I'm just going with these guys because it would be cool to see. I think the coolest matchup would be Seattle, New England, to be totally honest. But like, I don't know. I think that this Seattle defense has a point to prove as well. And that they go, hey, we know that Stafford's done his thing against us, and he did his thing against us this last time again. Our last matchup on that Thursday, that was a short week. We didn't get full time to prepare. We got time to prepare this time. We're going to knock these boys out. Like, I think that this is going to be that statement game. And boy, oh boy, I can't pick against Seattle after that hype video they put out where the 30 degrees, it's wet, and you know what? Shitty for them, but it's just right for us. Ooh, running through a wall after that one. I love Mike McDonald, man.
I am so glad I am somewhere recorded about how much I love that motherfucker. Like,
before he became a head coach.
Love
and by the way, I was rewatching videos of ours. You sold me on it. Him and Joe Hortiz. I was like, well, this sounds great. And then we get Jaden Daniels, but I was always Jaden Daniels. I was like, Jaden Daniels with that coach and that GM, I'm cool with. That sounds great.
I was walking through with somebody through the timeline as far as like where it is. My top pick for so long was Hortiz and McDonald.
Yeah.
And then when they did the Adam Peters thing, it was like, whoa, I never considered this. What happened? And it was just like, okay. And then that's when the McDonald thing, there was at that point, McDonald went down one notch as far as my pick because I thought he needed to be around somebody familiar. I didn't respect your G, Mike. You don't need nobody, dog. Like you just need you. Like, I should have never doubted you. And that's the thing is like, I'm reaching this territory with Mike where it's like, kind of like McVay. It's just I got more experience with him. I don't want to pick against him. Like,
go ahead.
No, I don't want to. I don't like the idea of picking against him.
Totally fair. Have you seen what McDonald does? He has that like pole with the branches with the helmets. Oh my God, it's so cool. For those that don't know, whenever the Seahawks beat a team, they take that team's helmet and they stack it onto this pole so you can see all the heads they've taken off as the seasons progress. There is a tribal element to the Seahawks team. There's a video of Nick Emanwari saying 41-6. Feels like the old days. They've already got their rookies understanding the history of the team. Like the way that's an underrated clip, in my opinion. I don't think people understand. Like a lot of guys don't know shit. Puka Nacua didn't know they were in the NFC West. Like there are a lot of guys that just don't know the history. McDonald's program is so much more than a football team. This is Seattle. This is who we are. This is who we've been. This is who you look up to. This is who you respect. He is brilliant. I mean, he is, fuck, man. Like, he is something.
To me, the way to get me sold on whether or not you're a good coach is if I hear, it's what changed me with Ben Johnson. Because I didn't hear him as much in Detroit because I did think he was still a bit of a prick. But I heard it immediately in Chicago. How do you teach? It's like can you simplify in a way in which you got these multi-million-dollar athletes who've been kind of coddled, at least to some degree? Can you simplify it and get them to understand and buy into why it is they're doing what they're doing? And can you do it simple? Can you elevator pitch it to a point at which they're like, oh shit. And then when they do the thing and they're like, oh shit, that worked. All questions are answered, right? So like you reach that point, you reach that level, and I'm telling you, the moment that happens for some of these young players that have never really experienced that, unless they've like gone to the really upper echelons as far as like from college coach standpoint, and if you're being honest, most of the time that you're on the upper echelon as far as college coaches, those main guys are not fucking talking to you. Nick Saban's not really doing a lot of one-on-ones with anybody. Like it's just not happening. So like the moment they do that, and the moment they see, holy shit, if I implement what it is he says and it works, you're bought in. It's the Baltimore way. It's the way that things would happen there, which is why I was so about. I mean, basically, you could have had it tattooed on my arm that like create Baltimore here, right? Like that's what I wanted. That's what he's doing out in Seattle. These guys are bought in. He knows how to teach it simple. It's the best coaching staff that has probably ever done that in the sense of the way that the coaches communicate to the players is looking back at Washington in 2012. And those years beyond that, the way that they talked about it. If you want a good video, I don't know how you'd even find it. I kind of stumbled upon it. It's Mike McDaniel talking about how it is they did things in Washington and what he's responsible for. And when you hear that and you hear the names, when you hear LaFleur, you hear these guys and like how it is they went about it, then you're like, okay, That's how it is. And I haven't really heard that. The last time I heard anything along those lines was probably John Gruden talking about what it was like in Green Bay under Holmgren, right? Like that's the way that they talk about, the way that they teach, the way that they implement, the way they do stuff. That's when and they don't do it with ego. That's the different. Like that's why I don't trust LaFleur as much. There's too much ego with it. Mm-hmm. There's a reason. Some of these guys you can just sense his ego. Mike don't give a fuck about anything except making sure that we play to our standard.
Correct.
That's it. Will you strip that shit away? I ain't got to be special. This is why we're doing it. And this is why we're doing it. You have figured it out. You are the shit. That's why I give credit to Ben Johnson. I got to give credit to Ben Johnson in that. I didn't see that in Detroit. I'm fucking seeing it with Spades in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Some of these guys, when you strip the ego away, I'm here as a facilitator to get the job done with these guys around me. It makes you next level. It's what Sean McVay does better than anybody.
Yeah. And Ben Johnson, also to his credit, like he reinstilled, if you will, the hatred towards the Green Bay Packers and letting these guys know that we are equals with them. We're not the younger guys. Like we are their equals, and they proved it, right? LaFleur clearly, shocking stat on him, when the Packers are like touchdown or more favorites, they actually lose outright more than they win those games. He has a history of looking down on people, right? And looking down on organizations, and it cost him in the second half. And that's why I was so mad, right? Because I picked the Packers. I was like, fucking idiot. Like McDonald, to your point, prick. Yeah, exactly. You think Ben Johnson's a prick? How about the guy that just doesn't respect you at all? Like, so Mike McDonald, though, in a parallel to Cignetti, and congrats to the Indiana Hoosiers, holy cow, playing to a standard. It doesn't matter what the score is. You have to play to your best on this play. This is your role in it. This is their role in it. There's something special over there, but we'll see what happens because Stafford himself is absolutely special. Nakua's special. Like McVay is unreal. It's going to be awesome. Who'd afford?
No, I agree. I agree with all that. Mike, the only guy I liked more than Raheem and fucking Dan. So yeah, there's a part of me that's like, well, you guys have done like the what could have happened way back when. I'm finally just at this point, and it's only because Washington's not showing me they got a fucking plan that has even entered my brain even a little bit, right? I don't want to be there at all. Quick side note. Indiana and what they did in Cignetti, who you want to shout out. I remember, if you guys look back, the biggest blowout in Big Ten history, I was there for the game. There's a photo of me in a Chris Cooley throwback jersey at Indiana versus Wisconsin when Wisconsin put up 84 points on Indiana. And I got called an asshole with my friend Jeremy by the entire student section in Wisconsin because we were rooting for Indiana. Like, how far they've come. And I will say, as much as I want to give Cignetti credit, as much as I want to give anybody, when your team averages like 28 years old, like I don't know, they want a different fucking level. Okay,
they were
the NIL is a motherfucker. I love this shit, but you got like if you could buy like a national championship game because you had grown ass men playing kids. That's what happened.
I think that's soft. I think that entire thing is overblown, and there are plenty of old rosters. BYU should be winning all the time in that case. Like there's a certain level of talent that they absolutely have. Yes. I'm not going to say Cignetti did. Like if Cignetti was a, they only have a handful of guys that are going to get drafted. 100%. Like if Cignetti's the Bishop Sycamore coach, they don't win. I get that. Right. I understand, but it's like I just need everybody to put in consideration. Like there is, when it's come to football, there is a thing about grown men. Sure. That like it changes shit. Like anytime anybody says Ohio State would beat the Cleveland Browns, okay. Yeah. Go ahead, keep thinking that. And with that, we go over, because we got a hard stop coming up, the comment mailbag featuring this.
And now the district divided comment mailbag.
Not even giving up. No.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, let's go ahead and begin with Martin College shout out. Martin. What up, fellas? That's the comment. Really appreciate it. What up, Martin? How you doing today? K-Dot?
Martin Supreme. Most clever I can be right now.
King Showtime 81 goes, I would love to be on the show. I really enjoyed the thoughtful banter. So that's one person that wants to be on the show. Okay.
Have you heard King Show? Have we read a King Showtime thing before?
A couple times before, yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't remember. Yeah. As King, I'm sorry. I was about to, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, motherfucker. So now you want to comment? Because I don't remember your name, but I'm sorry. I'll take it.
And then we have this from Coach Lombard, shout out, who has been regularly commenting for a long time. Great show. The Blough promotion seemed rushed and a fear of loss move. Gutsy call by Dan Quinn either way. I put half the blame on Patullo for Philly's early exit from the playoffs. That's a well-coached, try-hard San Francisco team, and I'm kind of rooting for them. In terms of my 2024 quarterback rankings, I'm going number 1, Drake May. Number 2, Jaden Daniels. Number 3, Caleb Williams. Number 4, Bo Nix. Number 5, J.J. McCarthy. And number 6, Michael Penix. Jaden had a historic rookie season, and McCarthy and Penix both seem injury-prone. I put both Caleb and Bo in the clutch, but not good tier. Caleb has a 50% completion rate. What are Bo Nix's numbers in the first 3 quarters? I'm up for a collab this offseason. Of course, I have to wear my Kelly Green Saquon jersey. Go Birds. K-Dot, your reaction.
The coach showdown is going to be a motherfucker.
It most certainly will, and I'm open to it.
I'm open to it, too.
That's fine. Kelly Green Saquon's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why nobody wants your guys' jobs. So, the quarterback rating thing is the same thing I'm saying about Caleb. Is just the special sauce. Like, Jaden is there. I think Jaden can easily have a bounce-back year if he just gets certain things out of him. But there are just certain traits that I've seen noticing from college that entered the pros that just bother me. But as far from a ceiling standpoint, I still think ceiling-wise, he can be better than all of them. He can be. He can run better than all of them if he chooses to run better than all of them. And if he can get the injuries under control, which wherever you want to come out on it, maybe you blame Cliff, maybe you blame him, whatever. If it's just the fact that he can play whole seasons, there's no reason he can't be number 1. Like, he has every tool in the box that you need to do it. But as of right now, I see the NFC Championship berth, but I also look at the strength of schedule. I look at nobody really saw that offense at all at any point in time. And even the second year, if I want to give him credit because of all the injuries that happened, he never really had the full complement of guys. He never had anything. I'm just saying I've seen every one of those other quarterbacks except for JJ and Penix all improve from year 1 to year 2. And they're on a trajectory. And right now, Jaden's trajectory hit a bit of a speed bump. And that's all.
So, Coach, since you're going to be on the show at some point, and King Showtime too as well, but let's start the banter a little bit early. Happy for you that you were rooting for the San Francisco 49ers. They got absolutely boat raced by a team in Seattle, 41-6, and the game was over in 13 seconds. You lost to that team, and they lost George Kittle in the first quarter. Hilarious. You guys suck. All right, now on to Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and the 2024 quarterback class. Everyone knows I'm the Jaden guy on this show. It's pretty well established. So yeah, that was the hidden banter for you. So the thing about it is Drake May has had an unreal season. I cannot take that away from him. I will say this: he has had home playoff games and he's turned the ball over multiple times in both of them. Mm-hmm. So because of that, I still have Jaden Daniels number 1. I do have Drake May number 2. I have Caleb Williams number 3. I have Bo Nix number 4. I have JJ McCarthy number 5. I have Michael Penix number 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
JJ over Penix.
I got to. I mean, look, so this hopefully provides some objectivity to the list, right? And also shows that I do mean it when I have Jaden number 1. Just because when you're that young, to go on the road and win a playoff game is impressive. To do it twice, especially the second time where you're 7.5-point road dogs, very impressive. To only turn the ball over 1 time in 3 games when you attempted over 110 passes, right? And also no fumbles. That's last postseason. Stunningly impressive. And that last throw, we were down 30, right? It was literally just a heave because screw it, we're losing. Let's see if we can come down with this. Quinyon Mitchell did instead. Otherwise, it's a turnover-free period. Like, he is special. I know he had a rough season, but I've seen enough so far from all of them that I still have Jaden 1. If May has another year like this and Jaden's injury riddled, I will have no choice but to not only put Drake May 1, but maybe even Caleb 2 and Bo 3 and Jaden 4. Like, I don't know, but it really depends on next year. Right now, Jaden's 1.
Yeah, no, fuck that for a second.
Go ahead.
There's nothing Drake May could do the rest of this postseason. You said
that's not what I said. No, hold on. Through this point.
Hang on. I'm just to make sure we're clarifying, because I thought I heard you say, depending on what Drake May does next year.
Oh yeah, I did jump ahead. You're right.
Right. Is there anything Drake May could do this year that would change your ranking?
Yeah. He can look really, really good against Denver and win. And win the Super Bowl. No. And win the Super Bowl.
He'd have to do both.
I'm not sure he has to do both yet.
That's all.
I'm not sure.
That's all I want to know.
No. It's a fair question. He definitely needs to win this game. He's a road favorite, right? He is. They're going against a backup quarterback. He can turn the ball over multiple times again, and they can still win this game. If he turns the ball over multiple times again and they win, I'm not sure that's enough for me, right? But if he ends up playing a clean game on the road, he doesn't even need to throw a touchdown. Like, that's the thing. He just doesn't turn it over. That might be enough for me. In Denver, hostile environment. New England's never won there historically on the road in the playoffs. Like, that could be enough. So yes, there is something Drake can do to leapfrog him. But as of right now, he is not for me.
Okay, understood. There are only two other things I want to remind everybody about Drake May and Caleb Williams, just to put everything into perspective. Yeah. Both those guys are learning their second offensive system.
Yeah, and they are with known, established, awesome offensive people, right? So Jamal Bibishaw Bonwe goes, I think with new OC and DC, 2026 will be a rebuild year. Second positive is, as fans, we will begin the season with no expectations and a wait-and-see attitude. K-Dot, there have been a couple times where you're like, I'm actually pretty high on next year. I'm paraphrasing. Feel free to push back on that or whatever. Why don't you go ahead and clarify that? Because Jamal's in rebuild year. And I think I'll say something slightly different from you. Maybe it is, but go ahead.
I was of the idea that if we were to roll into next year with the exact same staff that we have this last season, that we are in a position to be much better, honestly. I think that would have to entail a lot of moves in this offseason from Adam Peters being a bit aggressive in free agency, especially on defense. But I did think that we were in a position to do that. Right now, there's so many questions I have that it's kind of changed that a bit. And it makes me kind of concerned as far as what that means, what I thought long-term for this team, which is I was looking at everything in a 5-year sense in the wasn't the rebuild, the what do they call it, recalibration?
Yeah, the recalibration.
The recalibration, I thought we were still on pace to do that and to still have success in the long term. Now everything's been a bit reset. Did Dan Quinn just light his chair on fire? That he could get fired next year, depending on the circumstances. I didn't think there was anything he could do to get fired after year 3, honestly, in my opinion, but I don't think that's the animus now. If you now have an offensive coordinator where I can say Cliff Kingsbury offense, in my opinion, worked the last 2 seasons. I now have a guy that I don't have any experience with and what it is that his offense is going to look like. Not to mention, he might have an idea what his offense looks like, but also I don't think they make this change depending on what everybody's saying unless Dan Quinn has an idea what his offense wants to look like. Then I also have to look at, I even take into consideration the defense failed overall. While I do think the injuries had a lot to do with it, it failed overall. I don't know what they're doing defensively. Are they going in a completely different direction? Are they going to continue doing what it is they're doing right now? Is the injuries enough? There are too many variables that I did not think were going to exist this offseason, which is my whole thing was like, I wanted us to stick to a plan and to keep that plan for a few years. I did not want after year 2 for that plan to get scrapped, and now I've got so many fucking variables. I have no idea what next season's going to look like.
Yeah, it's a super intriguing question, and I would understand anyone being anywhere in that range or spectrum in terms of I've got very high expectations to there are no expectations, because here's what we know, that the roster is probably going to look very different again, right? Zach Ertz now out of contract and tore his ACL. Probably not coming back. Austin Eckler also hurt himself. He's out of contract, right? So like that's just 2 names. Bobby Wagner is also out of contract. Who knows what's going to happen over there? We still have a new defensive coordinator. There's going to be a lot of roster turnover again, right? And we're also in year 3 of Adam Peters, of Dan Quinn, of Jaden Daniels, right? So how do you weigh all that, right? Like we're going to wait, or at least I'm going to wait until free agency and the draft before I set whatever I feel my expectation is, because I want to see what the roster looks like. If they're super aggressive, for example, I think they're setting an expectation pretty high. If they're a little more muted, then it's like, okay, well then making the playoffs a success. Like, I don't know yet. Like we're going to go ahead and see what happens this offseason. But it's
there
intriguing.
Is something that I think is happening behind the scenes that I don't know if it's going to be an out, but I think it's true. They want a winner in that new stadium. They're not going to accept not having a new winner in that fucking stadium.
Oh, that's for sure. There is some time before then.
I know,
but I will say this: not having enough talent will not be an excuse. Because this idea that, oh, no, we're just not talented. We're in year 3, and you've got to turn over this roster many times. And at a certain point, if you keep turning it over and over and over again, I'm not sure you're a good evaluator of talent, because you should be building. We should be doing less of that each year. And if we keep doing a lot of that each year, I don't know what to tell you. It don't look right.
But I go as far as to say that, like, I don't know, because you guys clearly aren't on the same page about the talent and how it is supposed to be used.
There you go, right? The draft pick's not playing. So anyway, we're going to continue having these conversations. Here is Tony. Shout out Tony OG. I'm sure they'll consider it and figure it out. But how much snow do you think that transparent roof is rated for or is ready for? Maybe they'll put heaters in the ceiling now, in reference to the new RFK Stadium that's supposed to have that transparent roof. It's meant to amplify noise, meant to give it an outdoor feel, but nonetheless, it's going to be inside. K-Dot, how much snow do you think it can hold?
Tony? How high are you? Is it a high question? You don't think it's rated for snow?
I think it's a good question.
I think he's high.
well, does our front office have a plan? Does our ownership have a plan? I don't know.
This isn't the fucking Metro Dome where they had the fucking, like, the blow up.
Oh, that shit collapsed. That was crazy.
Like, yeah, but it was air and fucking cloth and shit. It's not. This is a different thing. I think it's rated for a significant amount of snow. At least we are supposed to see a significant amount of snow shortly. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, here's Polo Man V8, which is Poly Polo.
Did you hear about the state? Do you hear about they're gonna have the section that bounces?
No. That's awesome. That's a nice little throwback.
Something in the stadium for us to bounce.
That is cool. I like
That's cool as shit.
Polo Man V8, Poly Polo goes, let's go, in reference to this new episode. Appreciate you, Poly Polo. And we got Rennell Winchester going. If Flores does not say yes, he is now with the Minnesota Vikings, and Raheem Morris does not either, I am interested in Karl Scott, as he has a lot of potential despite not making play calls. He is the pass game coordinator for the Seahawks. I think he is better for us than the other defensive coordinator candidates. I still root for JD5 as my favorite quarterback. Last year was a reality check that even the best QBs can get put down. May next, Caleb third, Knicks. Go Amit on this one. Rooting for the assumed underdog, I have Broncos, Texans, 49ers, Chicago. So started strong with the Broncos. Rest were incorrect. My one criticism of JD5 is, unlike some other QBs, he does not seem to continue looking for receivers when he leaves the pocket to run. There are stats around that. And to K-Dot's point, this was a concern in college as well. That seems to have followed him at least this past year. Last week, I could not comment in the mailbag. I got some sort of notice about not being 18 and younger. Glad it is working again. You two so Brock and are my favorite Commanders podcast. Such funny and smart comments. Thank you. I was blown away by the stadium mock-ups. Brilliant. So first and foremost, thank you for the comment, Rennell, and for the praise. We appreciate that. Now, we do a lot of production here, including putting this up on YouTube and sometimes me forgetting to uncheck the now default thing, which is this is for people 18 and younger. So that changed recently. I apologize. Pauly Polo actually pointed that out to me. He's like, I'm trying to comment, but I can't. And I was like, oh shit. Turns out YouTube changed that on us. K-Dot, your reaction to the comment.
The chart that was going, I don't know if it went viral, but it was definitely on a thread that I saw. And you could take into consideration the injuries, the whatever you want to do. Jaden Daniels leaves the pocket 30.3% of the time, leaves the NFL. In that, he throws the ball only 36% of the time. It's one of the worst ratings.
It is the worst.
It's the worst. The only people like in his vicinity is Justin Fields, 2% higher, and Jackson Dart, 3% higher. To give him credit, 0% in interceptions when he leaves the pocket, which is nice. But
pass rating 110 or something like that.
113 and 7.5.
Undersold the kid.
No, it's 7.5 yards per attempt.
So nice.
Which would make one think.
Do it more.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, and so I do think that is a bit of who's available. And this is where I'm curious about Adam Peters and how he builds this, because I think my learning from this past season was guys like Olamide Zaccheaus, not a household name, And Jamison Crowder, not a household name, but a guy that seemingly we pick up off the couch these days where we're like, hey, we really need somebody. You need smaller, quicker guys that can get open early. And when Terry went down and Debo suddenly becomes the number one, I don't really think we had that. And it was just Zach Ertz. And I was tired of Chris Moore. Nice guy, but like it's different. So I'm curious to see what types of receivers are put around Jaden this coming season.
I'm glad to know that you don't trust me or Kurt Warner and what it is we're able to see on tape.
No. I know they're open. I get it. But I think that there's a certain trust that Jaden's responsible for. But
I'm just saying, I can look on that list and see a lot of other quarterbacks that also didn't have a lot of guys to throw to. All of their numbers are higher.
Kid, I'm going to keep it a buck. We are fucked. I need to leave in 6 minutes. All right,
Yeah,
so
go.
here we go. We're just going to fire through. King Showtime goes, my choices for DC are as follows. Flores, Gannon, Scott. Sorry, guys, we're not really going to react to stuff. I just need to hit this hard stop. Vindo, shout out, goes, not for the ranking these QBs until 3 years under the same system. So 2027 at the earliest is when I can give a ranking. I think that's fair. Don't think it's fair to rank 2 years in. We have a lot of options this offseason. I feel like we can land a good deep threat like Pierce or Shaheed. Any thoughts on them? Alec Pierce.
I could be cool, but does that mean Jaden's counter starts over in both those?
It sounds like it. Yes, 3 years in the
I'm
same
not
system.
doing that much.
Yeah. I think 3 years in the league is enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Rennell Winchester goes, the offense could use 2 new players, a receiving running back like Breece Hall and a receiving tight end like Kyle Pitts, both in free agency. Save the draft picks for the new DC. Kid, real quick, save the draft pick for the DC. Surely pick 7 overall has to go to the defensive side of the ball, right?
Not saying that at all, but I do think that I wish that we saw more down the stretch that I would know for sure whether or not we have either of those things on the roster already.
Yeah. Vindo goes, Dan Quinn is not on the hot seat, everyone. He is here to stay if you want any form of identity. The idea that you can just hire a young and boom, it works is just not true. Love it or hate it, we need this. We need the front office far away from the hot takes crew and the PTSD or PDSD, post Dan Snyder disorder, crew that cannot get out of their own way. At the end of the day, we don't know what they are going to do, and I'm all for it. K-Dot, quick reaction there.
Don't disagree.
All right. Jamal Bibi Shabanwi. First, a question. Tons of laughing emojis. What am I laughing at? LOL. I'm assuming you said first things first, a question, or I did. It was just funny in the moment. I can't really think of anything else right now.
Me neither. I'll stick with that.
Jamal, please clarify that because I'd love to know what that is. Paulo Man V8 Polypolo goes, bring on the dome. I want to be nice and comfy and go to games in my pajamas in November. K-Dot, your reaction.
I spent my whole damn life in the city.
Oh, love that. Come on. Hey, Polypolo, you got to love that. Blood Clot goes, Ben Johnson had some high praise for Blough after the hire, so that's something. I personally love this move. At some point, we have to stop letting the young geniuses leave the organization, especially after hearing the Lions wanted to interview him for their OC. Maybe he'll have some Johnson/Kingsbury/O'Connell hybrid plays. Having worked under these guys, I think he was able to see what did and did not work and probably has ideas without being rigid. We'll see, but I like the idea of seeing what he can do. The move is full of promise, K-Dot. We'll end up seeing how it actually pans out. Any other thought there?
There might be a chance they're playing the long game, and this is just revenge for last season. It's kind of like the Eric Bieniemy thing. They just want to Trojan horses with somebody who sucks.
Prince Anubis goes, Blough to Dow, watch out now. Seriously, if he is hired on, I would say Brian Flores is the next in line to be head coach. Once again, Brian Flores sticking around as Minnesota defensive coordinator unless he gets a head coaching job, similar to Mike McDaniel, looking like he'll be the Los Angeles Chargers offensive coordinator, but he is still interviewing for head coaching jobs. And we conclude with B. Wheeler over here, 6416, shout out. Glad the Bears lost, but they have a super bright future. Caleb and Ben Johnson got something special. So does Drake and Mike Vrabel. I need JD5 and Quinn/Blough to reignite the fire from 2024. These 3 combos can be this generation's Brady, Peyton, and Rodgers/Brees. They can hopefully inherit the torches from Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar, even though the latter 3 have a lot left in the tank. However, F the Bears fan base. They've joined the nemesis list with Philly and Dallas. Patriots fans about to join the list real soon too. K-Dot, your reaction to it?
I think the guys are almost there. I think we're already at a standpoint where Drake May and Caleb Williams are going to be competing with these motherfuckers for wins, not necessarily glory and accolades and MVPs, but wins and Super Bowls.
Yeah, they do have a nice organization from the looks of it right now. They do look like they have the right head coaches in charge, the right schemes in place, like Josh McDaniels for Drake May and Ben Johnson, of course, for Caleb Williams. And yeah, we hope that the same thing happens over here. I will say this, B. Wheeler, the Bear season is done. As you know, it's a year-to-year league. So I know you've been in the past like, man, I hate the Bears' success. I hate the Bears' success. I hate the Bears' success. They finally lost. Don't find another reason to be mad. Just let it go. The season's over, right? Let's see if they can do it again. They might be able to, but that's who we're going to be competing against, presumably assuming health for both sides. And it should be good. It should be a lot of fun, and we'll have plenty of time to say F the Bears fan base. That's all I would say to that. Final thoughts here on the comment mailbag. And my apologies, guys. I lost track of time. We will spend more time on the comments next time, for sure, as we always do. Go ahead, K-Dot.
No, you're good. Had a joke. We're good.
Well, this was the show. This is District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode, which featured the defensive coordinator search, the offensive staff, along with the defensive staff. What's going on? What's the plan? Is there a plan? We don't know. We're figuring it out. The NFL playoffs, Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Who's going to win the playoff games? Drop your predictions as well. And a sped up comment mailbag, which won't happen again. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do. And Kata.
Always know the half-life of Bolivian snow before you start a podcast.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.